They thought you would never find out. They thought their plan would stay hidden in the dark forever. While you were smiling, trusting, moving forward with your life, someone behind the scenes was quietly setting everything up to destroy you piece by piece. They studied your weaknesses, they watched your habits, they waited for the perfect moment when you were most vulnerable. And just when everything was about to collapse, just when their trap was about to snap shut around your life, something unexplainable happened. Something they never calculated. God stepped in at the last second. And what they didn't realize is this: when God decides to protect you, no secret plan, no hidden enemy, no silent betrayal can ever succeed against you. You see, not every battle in your life is visible. Some of the most dangerous attacks happen in silence, behind your back, in conversations you were never meant to hear. There are people who smiled at you in public but whispered against you in private. People who pretended to support you while secretly hoping you would fail. And the scariest part is, you never saw it coming. Because betrayal rarely announces itself. It hides behind familiarity. Behind fake loyalty. Behind faces you once trusted. But here's the truth that will shake you: God saw everything. Every hidden intention. Every late-night plan. Every word spoken against you. Every trap that was carefully designed. Nothing escaped his sight. While you were unaware, God was already working behind the scenes, rearranging outcomes, blocking moves, confusing your enemies, and delaying things at the exact moment they thought they had you. That delay you complained about. That rejection that didn't make sense. That sudden change in plans that frustrated you. You thought it was bad luck. But in reality, it was divine protection. God was slowing you down because danger was ahead. He was redirecting you because something wasn't right. He was closing doors because someone behind that door had intentions you couldn't see. And the moment their plan was about to succeed, God intervened. Not early. Not late. But at the last possible second. Because God doesn't just protect you. He makes it undeniable. He waits until the situation looks impossible so that when he steps in, there is no confusion about who saved you. He lets the enemy believe they've won. Only to flip everything in a single moment. That's why you're still here. That's why things didn't fall apart the way they were supposed to. That's why the situation turned around suddenly without explanation. Because what was meant to destroy you was intercepted by divine power. Understand this deeply: there are battles you won that you don't even remember fighting. Traps you avoided without even knowing they existed. Moments where things could have gone terribly wrong, but somehow didn't. And you called it luck. Coincidence. Timing. But it was none of those things. It was God. There are people who tried to damage your reputation. But somehow the truth came out. There are situations where you were supposed to fail. But something shifted at the last moment. There were doors that were about to close permanently. But suddenly opened again. That wasn't random. That was intervention. and erase the part they never expected. You didn't just survive. You became stronger. Because every hidden attack forced you to grow. Every silent betrayal pushed you closer to God. Every moment of confusion built your awareness. And now, you're not the same person anymore. You're more alert. More spiritually protected. More connected to God than ever before. And that scares them. Because the same person they tried to destroy is now walking with a level of divine protection they cannot break. The truth is, when someone tries to harm you in secret, they are not just fighting you. They are going against the protection placed over your life. And that's a battle they will never win. They didn't realize who you were connected to. They underestimated the power covering your life. They thought it was just you. But it was never just you. God was always there. And now, everything is shifting. The same trap they set is turning against them. The same negativity they sent is coming back. The same plan they designed is collapsing in their own hands. Because when God intervenes, He doesn't just stop the attack. He reverses it. And you don't even have to fight back. You don't have to expose them. You don't have to prove anything. God will handle it in ways you never could. All you have to do is stay aligned. Stay focused. And keep moving forward. Because what's coming next is not destruction. It's elevation. God didn't just save you for no reason. He stepped in because your story is not over. He protected you because your purpose is still unfolding. He blocked that attack because something bigger is waiting for you. And the people who try to stop you, they are about to witness something they never expected. Your rise. Not quietly. Not slowly. But powerfully. Undeniably. And with divine favor that cannot be explained. So don't question why things almost went wrong. Don't fear the fact that someone tried to harm you. Instead, recognize what it means. You are protected. You are chosen. And no matter how secretly they move, God moves louder. And at the last second, every single time, He will step in again. They thought it was over after that moment. They believed that even if their first plan failed, they still had time, still had chances, still had ways to slowly weaken you, confuse you, drain your energy, and eventually bring you down without you even realizing what was happening. Because that's how hidden attacks work. They don't always come all at once. Sometimes they come in waves. Subtle, silent, almost invisible. A delay here, a distraction there, a misunderstanding, a sudden distance between you and someone you trusted, opportunities slipping through your fingers without clear reason. And if you're not spiritually aware, you start blaming yourself, doubting yourself, questioning your worth, wondering why everything feels off. But what they didn't know is that something had already shifted in your favor the moment God intervened the first time. Because when God steps in once, He doesn't just leave you unguarded again. He places a covering over your life that continues working even when you don't see it. Even when you don't feel it. even when everything around you looks uncertain. And that's exactly where they made their biggest mistake. They thought you were still vulnerable. They thought you were still the same person they studied before. They thought your silence meant weakness. They thought your patience meant you had no power. But what they didn't realize is this: while they were watching you, God was transforming you. Every delay started teaching you discernment. Every disappointment started sharpening your instincts. Every strange situation started opening your eyes to things you ignored before. And now, you're beginning to sense what's real and what's not. You're beginning to feel when something is off. You're beginning to recognize energy, intentions, patterns. And that's not coincidence. That's spiritual awareness growing inside you. Because God doesn't just protect you externally. He upgrades you internally. He starts aligning your mind with truth. He starts strengthening your intuition. He starts disconnecting you from people who don't belong in your life. And sometimes it feels painful. Sometimes it feels confusing. Because people you once trusted start acting different. Conversations feel forced. Connections feel heavy. And you don't understand why. But hey, race, what's really happening? God is exposing what was hidden. Slowly. Carefully. In a way that you can handle. Because if He showed you everything at once, it would overwhelm you. So instead, He reveals it piece by piece. Situation by situation. Until you no longer need proof. You just know. And once you know, you can't be manipulated the same way again. That's why things are changing around you. That's why certain people are becoming distant. That's why some opportunities are disappearing. It's not loss. It's protection. It's redirection. It's preparation. Because the same people who tried to destroy you in secret are now being distanced from your path permanently. Not because you fought them, but because God is removing their access to you. And when God removes someone, no amount of effort can bring that connection back the same way. You might feel the absence. You might question it. You might even miss what used to be. But what you don't see is what you've been saved from. Because sometimes the greatest protection doesn't feel like protection. It feels like loss. And that's where faith becomes everything. Because you have to trust that what's leaving your life is not greater than what's coming. You have to trust that every closed door is actually blocking something harmful. You have to trust that every delay is positioning you for something better. And erase the deeper truth: they are still trying. Even after their plan failed. Even after God intervened. They are still watching. Still hoping. Still looking for another chance to disrupt your peace. But this time, it won't work. Because now you're not just protected. You're aware. And awareness changes everything. You start moving differently. You start speaking less and observing more. You stop sharing everything with everyone. You protect your energy. You trust your instincts. You stop ignoring red flags. And most importantly, you stop underestimating yourself. Because now you understand, if God went out of his way to save you at the last second, then your life must carry something powerful, something valuable, something worth protecting. And the enemy recognized that before you did. That's why they tried so hard. That's why they moved in silence. That's why they planned carefully. Because they saw something in you that you hadn't fully stepped into yet. But now, everything is changing. Now you're stepping into that power. Now you're realizing your worth. Now you're understanding your purpose. And the same situation that was meant to destroy you is becoming the reason you rise stronger than ever before. Because God doesn't waste pain. He transforms it. He uses it. He turns it into strength, wisdom, and clarity. And soon, very soon, you're going to look back at everything that almost broke you and realize it was actually building you. You're going to see how every delay saved you, how every rejection redirected you, how every hidden attack revealed your strength, and how every moment of confusion was leading you toward truth. But right now, you're in the middle of the shift. The part where things don't fully make sense yet. The part where you feel the change, but can't fully explain it. The part where you're letting go of what was and stepping into what's coming. And that's not an easy place to be. But it's a powerful one. Because this is where transformation happens. This is where your old self fades. And your new self begins to rise. This is where you stop being the person who gets targeted. And become the person who is untouchable. Not because no one will try again. But because nothing sent against you will succeed anymore. Because now, you're covered. Now, you're aligned. Now, you're walking with a level of protection that cannot be broken by hidden plans or silent enemies. And the next time someone tries to come against you in secret, it won't even reach you. It will collapse before it gets close. Because God doesn't just intervene once. He establishes protection. He builds a barrier. He surrounds you in ways no one can penetrate. And what's coming next in your life will make it even clearer. That you were never meant to fall. You were meant to rise, and now something even deeper is happening. Something they can't see, something they can't understand, something that is quietly shifting your entire life in a way that will make every past attack completely meaningless. Because what God is doing now is not just protecting you. He is positioning you. Positioning you for a level you haven't experienced yet. Positioning you for opportunities that require a stronger version of you. Positioning you for blessings that demand awareness, discipline, and spiritual alignment. Because the truth is, if those hidden attacks had never happened, you wouldn't have changed the way you think, the way you move, the way you trust, the way you see people. You would still be open in places where you needed to be guarded. You would still be connected to people who were quietly working against you. You would still be walking into environments that were never meant for your growth. So what felt like an attack was actually a separation. A separation from what could not go where you are going. And that's why things had to happen the way they did, not because God wanted you to suffer, but because He refused to let you stay in a position where you could be destroyed later at a higher level. Because understand this clearly, what you're stepping into next is bigger. And with bigger levels come bigger responsibilities, bigger exposure, and unfortunately, bigger opposition. So God had to prepare you early. He had to show you how people can operate in silence. He had to show you how not everyone who smiles at you is for you. He had to show you how quickly energy can shift. He had to show you how important it is to protect your peace, your plans, your vision. Because where you are going, you cannot afford to be careless. You cannot afford to trust blindly. You cannot afford to ignore your instincts. And now, you won't. Because you've learned. You've felt the shift. You've experienced the warning signs. You've seen how things can almost go wrong, and then suddenly turn around. And that experience has built something inside you that no one can take away: discernment. And discernment is power. It allows you to walk into a room and feel what's real. It allows you to listen to words and sense the intention behind them. It allows you to recognize when something is aligned, and when it's not. And the more you grow in that, the harder it becomes for anyone to deceive you. That's why what's happening now is so important. Because God is not just protecting your present. He's securing your future. He's making sure that when the next level opens up, you're not stepping into it blindly. You're stepping into it aware, focused, and covered. And hey, race where everything flips completely. The same people who tried to destroy you in secret are about to witness something they cannot stop. They're going to see you move forward. They're going to see doors open for you. They're going to see things work out in your favor in ways that don't make sense. And they won't understand why. Because they thought they had already blocked your path. They thought they had already weakened your chances. They thought their hidden actions would slowly take you down. But instead, you're rising faster, stronger, clearer, more focused than ever before. And that's not something they can control. Because when God decides to elevate you, no human plan can delay it. No hidden agenda can stop it. No silent enemy can interfere with it. And the most powerful part of all this is, you don't even have to prove anything. You don't have to expose what they did. You don't have to explain your story. You don't have to fight for validation. Because your results will speak louder than anything you could ever say. Your growth will speak. Your peace will speak. Your success will speak. And the same silence they used against you will now work in your favor. Because while they were busy plotting, you were being prepared. While they were focused on your downfall, God was focused on your elevation. While they were working in darkness, God was working in light. And light always wins. Always. That's why you need to understand this moment in your life. You are not behind. You are not delayed. You are not stuck. You are in transition. A transition from who you were to who you are becoming. A transition from being unaware to being awakened. A transition from being vulnerable to being protected. And yes, it feels uncomfortable. Yes, it feels uncertain. Yes, it feels like you're losing things. But what you're actually doing is shedding everything that cannot go with you. And once that process is complete, everything will start aligning. The right people, the right opportunities, the right timing, the right environment. All of it will come together in a way that feels almost unreal. Because that's how God works. He doesn't just fix things. He restores them better than before. And when that moment comes, you will finally understand why everything had to happen the way it did. You will understand why certain people had to leave. Why certain plans had to fail. Why certain paths had to close. Because all of it was leading you here. To a place where you are stronger, wiser, and completely aligned with your purpose. And the most beautiful part of all this is that the same situation that almost destroyed you is now the foundation of your strength. The same moment that felt like an ending has become the beginning of something greater. And the same God who stepped in at the last second before is still with you now. Still guiding you. Still protecting you. Still positioning you. So whatever you're facing right now, whatever feels uncertain, whatever doesn't fully make sense yet, trust this. If God already saved you once, He's not going to leave you now. And what's coming next will prove that everything you went through was not to break you, but to build a version of you that cannot be broken anymore. And now you're standing at a point in your life where everything is about to become undeniable. Not just to you, but to anyone who ever doubted you, anyone who ever secretly worked against you, anyone who ever thought your story would end quietly. Because what God is about to do next will not be subtle. It will not be hidden. It will not be something people can ignore or explain away. It will be visible, powerful, and impossible to deny. Because there comes a moment when God stops protecting you silently and starts elevating you publicly. And that moment is closer than you think. You've already gone through the hidden battles, the confusion, the delays, the moments where nothing made sense and you felt like you were losing control. You've already faced the silent attacks, the unseen, the situations that almost broke you. And yet somehow, you're still here. Still standing. Still moving forward. And that alone is proof that something greater has been guiding your life all along. But now, it's shifting. Now it's no longer just about survival. It's about elevation. It's about restoration. It's about stepping into a version of your life where everything that was once blocked begins to open. And when it starts, it will happen fast. Faster than you expect. Because God doesn't just restore slowly. Sometimes He restores suddenly. Suddenly doors open that were closed for years. Suddenly connections appear that change everything. Suddenly opportunities come that you didn't even plan for. Suddenly the same areas of your life that felt stuck begin to move. And people will look at you and say, "How did this happen so quickly?" But what they won't see is everything that happened behind the scenes. They won't see the nights you questioned everything. They won't see the moments you almost gave up. They won't see the silent battles you fought within yourself. They won't see how close things came to falling apart. All they will see is the result. And that's how God works. He does the deepest work in private and reveals the results in public. And here's where it becomes even more powerful. The same people who tried to destroy you in secret will not be able to ignore what's happening. They will see it. They will hear about it. They will watch your life move in a direction they never expected. And for the first time, they will realize something they refused to believe before. They couldn't stop you. Not because you were lucky. Not because you were smarter. But because you were protected. Because what they were fighting against was never just you. It was God's plan for your life. And no one, no matter how strategic, how careful, how hidden, can overcome that. But here's what you need to understand as you step into this next phase. Not everyone who sees your elevation will celebrate it. Some will be confused. Some will be silent. Some will try to come back into your life as if nothing happened. Some will pretend they always supported you. And this is where your growth will be tested again. Because now, you have to choose differently. You have to move differently. You have to protect what God is building in your life. Because elevation without discernment can bring you right back to the same place you were saved from. So you can't ignore what you've learned. You can't go back to trusting blindly. You can't reopen doors that God closed for a reason. You can't forget the signs you were shown. Because everything you went through was preparation for this level. And if you stay aligned, if you stay aware, if you stay connected to God, this next chapter of your life will be unlike anything you've experienced before. Peace that doesn't make sense. Clarity that feels strong and steady. Opportunities that align naturally. People who don't drain you, but support you. And most importantly, a sense of security within yourself that cannot be shaken by outside forces. Because now you know, no matter what happens, you are covered. No matter who tries again, it won't succeed. No matter how things look, God is in control. And that changes everything. Because when you truly understand that level of protection, Fear loses its power over you. Doubt loses its grip on you. Anxiety starts to fade. And you begin to move with confidence. Not because everything is perfect, but because you know you're not alone. And that's what makes you unstoppable. Not perfection. Not strength alone. But alignment with something greater than anything that comes against you. So as you move forward from this moment, don't look back with fear. Don't overthink what almost happened. Don't stress about who tried to harm you. Because their part in your story is over. They had their chance. They made their move. And God already responded. Now it's your time. Your time to rise. Your time to step fully into what's been waiting for you. Your time to experience the life that was almost taken from you, but ultimately protected. And when it all unfolds, when everything starts aligning, when your life begins to move in a way that feels powerful and undeniable, you'll look back at this moment. And instead of feeling anger, or confusion, or pain, you'll feel clarity. You'll feel gratitude. Because you'll finally understand. If God didn't intervene at the last second, you wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't be stepping into this level. You wouldn't be becoming this version of yourself. So what felt like a near destruction was actually a divine redirection. And what looked like an ending was actually the beginning of everything that's coming next. And this time, nothing and no one will be able to stop it.